Hello.
Welcome to another episode of the B-Side of South Africa. My name is Zawadi.
I'm Reggie.
And we are a married couple out of Brooklyn, New York that lives part-time here in South Africa. So if you've been following us these last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about the process and the things to consider if you're either thinking about traveling or making a part-time or permanent residence here in South Africa. We're just sharing our experience and the things that we've learned through the years. But we thought that we'd kind of like take a step back. We're gonna actually take a pause from these videos for a couple of weeks, but we wanted to, before we do that, take a step back and like give you guys an opportunity to understand a little bit more about who we are and what brought us here today, basically. What brought us to this moment where we are now living part-time here and part-time back at home.
Thank you for leaving comments and engaging. And there's some kind of like off-topic questions that came up, but some stuff that, you know, other people might be thinking about, so we can address some of those as well. Well, this actually comes up in one of the questions I was asking in the comments. People want to know what we did. So I, for many years, was an educator. I was a teacher, a principal. I was steeped in the world of education. Now I have a consulting company where I help to do training for principals, teachers, you name it, curriculum, all kinds of things like that. So I have my own consulting company, and I consult and subcontract with some other organizations as well as schools and school districts to help improve the educational environment, educational outcomes for schools. So I do that. I also do real estate. My partner Takala and I have a company called Skybridge, and we do real estate in New York City and Brooklyn. And we also consult with people who are interested in coming to South Africa and looking to relocate. We'll take selected clients in regard to that consulting. So that's, so that's the background of what I do. You want to talk about what you do?
So what do I do? Primarily, first and foremost, I am the founder and publisher of a digital daily news site in Brooklyn called BK Reader, or the Brooklyn Reader. I've been doing that since 2013. Prior to that, I was a journalist, I was a writer, I was a publicist. I've been a business owner since 2000. I have a nonprofit that I also founded in 2001. So been an independent business owner since 2000 for almost 25 years now.
So we both work for ourselves, basically. So one of the things that came up, people were wondering, well, how can we live in South Africa part-time and in the States part-time? It's because we work for ourselves. And so, it's a blessing. It's a lot of work as well. So it's a lot of things to juggle. And then, we wanted to also talk about what brought us to South Africa, right? It's a huge continent. There's a lot of countries on this continent. Why specifically South Africa? Well, for me, I talked about in one of the earlier videos that South Africa was the first country I came into contact with on the continent back in 1992 during the end of apartheid. And I fell in love with it ever since then. The kindness that the people here showed me, the resilience, also the deep knowledge of the Black American struggle and our civil rights struggle. There was a deep knowledge of that back in 92 and even to this day. I came with a group of my classmates from the Black Student Union. We came here to do a study, but we found so much more. We found this was the place that felt like home outside of home. And came back here in 2018, fell in love with it again, was looking at it differently through a lens of real estate and property as well. That was a different lens that I came with, and just saw there's immense opportunity here, beautiful spaces, and I felt even more connected. And so that's when I told my wife, that she needs to come and see what I saw here.
And my mom had been a couple of times. Most of my friends at this point had been, and I had definitely planned to come. Didn't think that it would be South Africa would be my first trip. I really thought I would be going to West Africa, like most of my peers. But this was a long time coming for me because I've been very interested in living abroad and foreign languages and all of those things that have to do with international travel. And since I was a kid, actually, because when I was really young, probably around 8 or 9 years old, my mother decided to go back to college and get her bachelor's degree. And she couldn't afford a babysitter, so she left us in the college library. And in that time that my younger sisters and I were pretty much babysat by books, we came across a college tutorial of Spanish book, and it came with, an audio cassette tape. And so over the course of that summer and then the following summer, we taught ourselves how to speak Spanish as little kids. We followed the entire book, did the entire lessons. So I've been a fluent Spanish speaker since I was a young girl. When I got to high school, I took French, and then I also won a scholarship when I was 16 to go and study abroad in South America, in Bolivia. So I spent a semester of school as a teenager in El Campo, it was called, which is basically the rural areas of Bolivia, living with a host family. That was another amazing experience for me. And then fast forward to college, and I decided I want to be a consulate officer. I want to be an ambassador of some sort. So I took business classes and ended up studying abroad again for a year in Spain, and also took Bambara, which is a language that's spoken in West Africa, primarily Mali, and took a little bit of Arabic. Was planning just to be an international traveler. All of that just to say, I've always been pointed towards foreign travel and foreign work. Ended up going into journalism. And so when my husband made his trip in 2018, came back and was raving about it, I said, okay, this is perfect. And we came back together that following year to South Africa, and that was it. That's all she wrote. And we don't know that we're necessarily going to even settle here in South Africa. This is just where we are now, and we just wanted to share our experience and hopefully be a bridge and an encouragement to those who are also considering this choice.
It's a great place to start to explore the continent, right? You come
Yes.
here, it's the softest landing in terms
It's a
of
soft landing if you're coming to the
to
continent.
orient yourself and figure out, what direction you want to move in. You come here first, then you can go jump to, if you want to go to Kenya, you want to go to West Africa, you want to go to Central Africa, Rwanda, all of these places. But doing that from South Africa, easiest thing.
It is.
Also, you start taking Zulu lessons.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
like you got all the way in. So, what's it been like for you taking these Zulu lessons? Because you're very brave. She went and got herself a tutor. Tell us about what's it like learning Zulu as a English-speaking American.
Zulu is, of all the languages that I've taken, the most difficult language. But I also, my virtual assistant, I work with a woman who is from South Africa. She's from Johannesburg. She's Zulu. And I asked her, I was like, what's the best way to really understand and get into the culture and meet other people here in South Africa? And she's like, honestly, the only way you're really going to understand us and get us is if you learn the language. How people communicate to each other informs so much about who that community is. It really does, and the way they express themselves. And I'm still learning. Like for instance, I'll say something. Okay, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me.
Try
Okay.
some stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna say Ngaze ngajabula ukukubona, or Ngaze ngajabula ukunibona. Which means I'm very happy to see you all today.
Oh, see, your tutor gonna be proud. She's gonna be like, I got an A+ student, right? I'm still on Sawubona and Ingiapila.
Ngiyaphila.
And I know,
which means I'm very well. So the greeting here is
Sawubona.
Sawubona, and then you say Sawubona, which means you're recognizing a person, like nice to see you. And Unjani is the actual greeting, like how are you is the question. So if I say Unjani, what do you say?
Ingiapila.
Yes, Ingiapila. And then you return the greeting, and they ask, then you say
Sawubona Unjani.
Yes, and then I would say Ingiapila Nami, which means I'm also well. And it really changed the relationships and the openness of the folks that we talk to, like just giving them greetings and just saying thank you. What's thank you? Because I'm teaching him now.
Ngiyabonga.
Yes.
See there? Ngiyabonga. How about that? Ngiyabonga. Right. What's really cool was we learned that there's differences in terms of the way people speak it regionally. So we have a friend who's from Johannesburg and he's Zulu, but he's like, I got to switch my mind to do whole phrases in Zulu. He's like, he mixes English in with his Zulu, and it's more like a pidgin kind of.
Yeah, in the urban areas, they have like a pidgin speak where they mixed English, Zulu, Swana,
Xhosa.
like Xhosa. They mix them all together, and they all understand each other's languages. But it's become like this. I don't know if you guys know, in the Caribbean they call it papamiento.
Yeah.
It's like this blend of languages, and so only when you go out to the more like rural areas, like in the urban areas they speak this pidgin, but in the rural areas they speak straight. So I try out some of my like what I'm learning in Zulu with some of the folks here in Johannesburg, and
sound real formal.
And I sound real formal. Like I'll ask, can you please tell me where the bathroom is? Is Ngiyaxela, Ukubusa, Ngingilatola, Ngakupi toilet.
That's a lot.
All of that. So I imagine, going up to, a native Zulu speaker in a store or someplace or in a restaurant and saying all of that. And I'm like struggling that same way. And they're like looking at me like, what
They're
is she?
sitting there tapping their foot.
Like telling us, okay, get to it. Like, what is she trying to say? And then when I get to toilet, they're like, oh, it's around the corner. So it's almost like I'm so formal to them. The way I'm learning it and speaking it, it almost sounds like, excuse me, sir. Would you perhaps happen to have some Grey Poupon? It just comes off crazy. But I'm not gonna give up. They giggle at me when I speak it, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm learning a lot. Sengilambile.
Listen, we had to pick one because it's like 13 languages here. So, you know, isiZulu, they said, is the one that's most widely spoken. At least people understand it, even if they speak the other languages. So she picked that one.
But yes, that's a pro tip. Like, try to pick up like maybe the top 10 phrases you can when you come here. It will change everything when you get in the cabs, when you go to the stores. Now, they all speak fluent English. And I was like, that was the first thing I wanted to do when I got here, is to, learn the language and at least address them just out of respect. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on margins. I'm still talking about, I'm giving people the sharp. I give them sharp.
People like, shop.
Give a sharp.
Throw a shop at them for everything.
I throw a house at them, and that's about it.
The final thing that I want to talk about, that we both want to talk about, is if not now, then when? So why are we even thinking about being here? Outside of the personal things that drew us here, why are we thinking about even possibly relocating at some point to the continent? So, we happen to be here in South Africa, but like I said, we still have to travel. I'm looking at Rwanda, we're looking at Ghana, possibly, Senegal, Kenya, Tanzania. So we're looking at different places, but why are we looking, and why do we think that it's something that you should consider? So I'm going to pose the question to you, Reggie. Why is it important in this climate and in this time that, Black folks from America begin to think about repatriation, or even consider expanding the, where we call home?
Like, before a particular point in my life, I would have never even considered coming to Africa. Like, I would say that's before undergrad, right? Then when I started reading a lot of African authors, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Buchi Macheta, and Chinua Achebe, all of these different authors, and their experiences, and getting more of a sense of like the folk here, then it became something I really wanted to do. So I think I was prepared by some of the reading and discussions that I had. So because what's presented to us, obviously, it doesn't make the continent look like an attractive place or a place that I want to be. Of course, it has the wealth of the world here. Yeah, we're not saying everybody needs to come and live here, but I am saying every Black person in diaspora needs to make one trip to some country here on the continent, because you get to see the whole picture. It's like a missing piece of your life puzzle that you get to see in place when you get here. Then all of a sudden you see how it fits, you see how you fit, and you can sift out the nonsense from the truth. But if you do want to live, then that's definitely something that we're considering. And if there's something we're going to have more conversations about in terms of what's it like actually living here day to day.
Right.
Like, what's it like going to the supermarket?
Right.
Or what's it like, trying to find a home or a place to live and things like that.
Yeah, so what we get asked from our folks back at home is, are you guys moving there? And then what we get asked from both the South African community and the Black American community here is do you guys live here?
Yeah.
And when we say we're in both places, it sounds like we're undecided. And it's not so much about being undecided, not at all.
It's a choice.
It's a choice for us right now. We understand that you have to we'll talk about this in a future episode, but you need to be independently, financially sustainable to make a trip from there to here, or anywhere from the U.S. to anywhere you are.
Live.
Yeah, to live. You need to have financial stability before you do that. And we're still earning, both of us. So, and that earning has allowed us, we're earning well enough that it allows us to be in both places, but to completely cut ties within, a couple of years or so, we'd be like trying to crawl home. You don't want to do that. You don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face.
You gotta have a plan.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. And we'll talk about, what kind of plans you can consider in some future episodes. We also have family. We're connected to the U.S. and we don't want to completely cut those ties off.
My sister says she ain't coming.
Yeah.
so, I still want to see my family.
Yeah, there's folks back in the U.S. I'm sure if you told them that you were thinking about going to or staying part-time or even living in Africa, will probably look at you like, why?
Yeah.
And we can talk about that a little bit more too. Just we don't want it. We're trying to keep our episodes nice and light and quick. And
we're going to show you we're going to have some clips that we're going to put up in the interim where you can see like maybe what we did while we were in Durban, or some of
our lifestyle clips, travel, travel footage and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
We really didn't still talk about if not now, then when. That's really a conversation I want to get into, where we explore the importance of seeing ourselves as Black Americans as something broader and greater,
and connected
to the world as a world citizen.
Yeah.
And then I think at that time we'll also explore what are the steps and things that you need to consider if you actually want to either come here part-time or full-time.
So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging, leaving your comments, giving us your likes, subscribing, doing all of those things that's really encourages us. So we appreciate it.
So the next episode,
Yep.
we will see you. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.